Hello, friends. It's Greg with Greg James Designs, and it is a beautiful Saturday morning here in Oklahoma. And I had an interesting conversation with a client this morning, and we're going to be working with them. They are building a barn dominium in a floodplain, and occasionally this is an issue. And we're currently building a home right next to a floodplain here, close to where my office is, and they have a tiny piece of ground that they can build on. But in our situation, where we're building this particular client's home at, the dirt in the floodplain cannot even be touched. So we have to pay the surveyor to come out and stake the boundaries of the floodplain, and we have to completely stay out of that. So floodplains, what to do? Can you build in a floodplain? Well, you need to get advice from your civil engineer about that. But in our situation, and this particular client I was talking to this morning in East Texas, they have to have the finished floor of their house 8 feet above grade. So that's interesting. What do you do? Well, there's lots of options to do, and really a metal building is perfect for that. You basically building the house on stilts, and they do it along the coast all the time, and certain in flood areas and stuff, they get that house up off the ground. But really, it's pretty straightforward. We're basically going to raise the house 8 feet with the steel columns. So we're just going to, like for instance, the old school where they used to have crawl spaces under the house. Just imagine a crawl space that's 8 feet tall. Now you can't do a basement or anything because you can't put the structure. In most situations that I know of, you can't, build a house like that, but you can put posts, down to the ground. Now, in our situation here in Oklahoma, where I'm building, we can't even touch the floodplain. We can't put any structure in the floodplain. But apparently, this particular client is building on the lake, and they just have to lift the floor 8 feet above the grade where they want to build at. And so that is allowable. So I don't know, lenders and stuff, that's something you really have to work through with your lender, what their guidelines are. Most of them, FHA, VA, conventional lending, that sort of thing, they all have different guidelines. So you'd have to talk to them about that. But what do you do? So you need to get this house up off grade. Well, you just basically run your steel columns down to piers or footings, and then just build a finished floor. You build a floor system up however high you got to go. So essentially, let's say we have a one-story building that, let's say this steel building will have a 10-foot eave. Well, we're just going to add 8 foot to those legs. So let's say we go 18 feet. So you basically got a building with an 18-foot eave height. It's just the bottom of it. You could finish it out with metal, like you would just extend the walls down. But you can do a floor system out of steel bar joist, like they do in a lot of commercial projects. Most metal buildings companies can provide that for you. What we suggested was we're going to literally weld a steel ledger around the perimeter and use, more than likely use wood floor truss system, so it'll be cheaper and a little easier to work with. So building a floodplain, yeah, you got to get the building up. A lot of options there, but every area you build in, especially along Florida coast and that sort of thing, they're gonna have different guidelines of like what you can do to get that building up in the air. So you just have to follow those guidelines. I know there's certain areas that the walls are designed to blow out. So if you get a storm surge or something along the coastline, the water literally will pass right through the house, pass under it. So anyway, so I hope that helps you. Yes, you can build in a floodplain sometimes, but there's a lot of guidelines, a lot of rules around it. So you just have to find out, where you want to build and what your options are. Sometimes you can't build in a floodplain at all. I mean, we did a lot of commercial projects years ago, and we had a couple of them. The investors that we were working with bought a big piece of ground. It was a real nice piece of property, but like 80% of it was unusable. I mean, could not be touched. And so They took the remaining 20%. We built a shopping center on that little 20% piece of ground. We just had to leave the rest of it untouched, you know. So basically, you still had to buy the whole parcel of land just for the 20%. So, but it was a great location and good traffic for the businesses there and everything. So it all worked out. But yeah, so a lot of rules around the floodplain. You need to be sure you dot your I's and cross your T's before you pull the trigger on anything, or even before you purchase a piece of land like that. So be sure you're aware of that. All right, hope that helps.